Hello, carnivore hunters. This is Doug.
Hey, and this is Rick. So, how do you start carnivore without getting the keto flu? Today, we're going to give you 7 tips from our experiences and on how to improve your health without that initial downturn. Um, as always, we're not doctors, and this is not medical advice. We're just giving you two. We're just giving you some tips from a couple of regular Joes like us, and everything we've gone through up to this point and the mistakes we made.
Yeah, so for me, I got the keto flu really bad. While both my wife and my brother here didn't get really any symptoms at all. Uh, and my keto flu again, it was really bad. There was a couple days at the end of that first week where I almost gave up. And honestly, it's a good thing that my wife was doing fine. Because had she gotten it at all, we probably both would have quit.
Yeah, I think probably the reason that I wasn't affected by the flu as bad as Doug. In fact, I didn't get it at all. But I think that's because I was already on keto when Doug first approached me about the carnivore diet. Um, and I was eating a standard keto diet, but I was including the keto breads and the keto protein bars. And at that time, I was unaware that keto products were categorized as processed food, nor did I understand the concept of processed food and how unhealthy they really are for you.
Yeah. So I, on the other hand, literally went from eating a big bowl of pasta and a good amount of wine on Saturday night to strict carnivore at the beginning of Sunday. Um, and I did this for a reason. I know that I'm not very good at moderation, or at least I wasn't, which is another thing that carnivore has kind of improved for me. I do have much better self control now. Um, but I just wanted to eliminate everything at once and really not look back. But I did suffer the consequences for doing it that way, and I do mean suffer.
Yeah. So, having said that, tip number one, let's get into the tips. Tip number one is move into carnivore gradually. It's going to take some time for your body to adjust, and easing into it can save you some consequences that we're going to talk about here in a minute. Um, but if you are an all-in kind of person and want to start right away, be prepared for possibly getting the keto flu, and understand as well that your bowels are going to let you know that you've changed your diet.
Yeah, which kind of brings us into our second tip, which is kind of related to the first and also seemed to affect me a little bit more than Rick or my wife. But tip number two is, guys, do not trust a fart. Your body is going to go through some big changes at first, as that inflammation starts to come down. And all that inflammation is stored liquid in your cells, and it really has to come out somewhere.
Yeah, I didn't have that problem much either, but from our understanding from watching Dr. Barry and some of the other carnivore doctors, it's not all that uncommon. In addition to what Doug just told you, your gut microbiome is going to change as well, and as your body adjusts to carnivore, your old microbiomes will flush out of the body and not in a pleasant way. Uh, but sticking but stick with it because once your body adjusts to the changes, you're going to feel amazing. I promise you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, our third tip for starting carnivore is have some electrolytes on hand. When I had started, I actually had some element packets on order, but unfortunately there was a delay in shipping with the post office, so I didn't get them until I was a couple of days into the keto flu. Now, I took them as soon as they came in. I actually took them, and it really did seem to help. And to be fair, I had already had the keto flu for a couple of days, so I might have been on the path to feeling better anyway. But that did seem to help.
Yeah. Either way, though, when you lose all that inflammation, all the excess water and toxins that you flush out through your urine and otherwise carries a lot of those electrolytes with it. and they'll need to be replenished. So, but be cautious when you're buying your electrolytes. A lot of the mainstream brands today have a lot of chemicals and sugars and dyes and artificial sweeteners that'll wreck your carnivore results. And that can make you want to give up because you're thinking this diet's not working.
Yes, and which now brings us to our fourth tip. I would highly recommend do not buy too much chicken or any other traditionally lean meats. Another thing, when I first started, I bought a variety of meats to have on hand because I thought I needed a variety. But frankly, that was just my old food addiction talking. One thing that I noticed and noticed pretty rapidly is that things like chicken and pork were just not as satiating as red meat or eggs or bacon. Now, I still do make chicken wings every now and then, but I have to tell you, I don't really care for chicken or pork as much as I used to.
Uh, yeah, I agree with you 100%, Doug. I do, however, I still like the pork ribs.
Yeah.
And if chicken and pork is your thing, you do you. But I just don't crave the chicken or the pork the way I do the red meat anymore. And like you said, it doesn't satiate me the same way that bacon and eggs and steak does. Although bacon is pork,
Yeah.
But that's not to say that if we go to somebody's house and they're serving pork chops or chicken or something like that that I'm not going to eat it. I can still eat it, but I don't want it in my refrigerator because I'm just afraid that I'm not going to eat it and it's going to go to waste. It's going to wind up in the trash. But the other thing I do like, Doug, is I like the seafood or the salmon particularly, and some other seafood. I love seafood. It is leaner, so you got to add fat, but
Yeah.
I could eat seafood all day long, man.
Yeah, I can eat a lot of seafood too. My wife doesn't particularly care for it, so I don't get it as much as I would like. But yeah, that's definitely a good one. And it's also not to say we would, if I ever got a craving, yeah, I'll go buy some chicken breast or something like that. But again, it's just not something I want to have on hand all the time because odds are, if it's between steak and a chicken breast, I'm going to go with the steak probably 9 times out of 10. So. Bring us now to our fifth tip, which is to eat big meals. The easiest way to stay the course is to make sure that you're satiated, and nothing does that better than a big breakfast. And whether that's a big plate of bacon and eggs or a big steak, whatever your first meal is, and whenever your first meal is, make more than you think you can eat. When I make too much, my dogs just get a treat. But frankly, the carnivore diet is better for them than what their normal kibble would be as well. So, we're all benefiting from it.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree. I can usually eat a big breakfast and not get hungry for the next 20 to 24 hours. And what that does, that actually helps me kind of unintentionally get into an intermittent fast for, anywhere from 20 to 24 hours. Although I'm noticing that the more weight I lose, the hungrier I'm getting. And I think that's because the closer that I get to my goals, the more fat I'm burning. My body's looking for that energy to burn. So it's wanting more and more fat. So it has that energy to burn.
Yeah, and we just don't have as much anymore on our bodies. I mean, I still have quite a bit more than I'd like to have, but not as much as I did 6 months ago. That's for sure.
Beachbody 2024. So tip number 6, find what motivates you to stick with the carnivore diet. So for me personally, I started out watching everyday Joes like us and listen to their testimonials and how they were healing their body from this carnivore diet. And as I got involved in the carnivore diet, I was noticing the same results as all the other everyday Joes that we watch. And so once I felt like I heard enough from them, I started watching the carnivore doctors. And what I like about them, and they motivated me a whole bunch for a while there, but I still do. but I felt like they provided the scientific data and the evidence that this diet is not dangerous for you and it's not going to kill you. The saturated fat and the red meat, and it actually helps you. Um, and then, finally, one of my other motivators, just by happenstance, I had gotten some lab work done before I got involved with this carnivore, and as I got into carnivore, I was going in for some follow up lab work, and I was seeing my cholesterol improve. I was seeing my liver improve. What else was there, Doug?
Kidney function or something?
My kidney, I'm not sure yet, but my cholesterol, my blood sugar. And so I'm seeing all these improvements in my own health, and that's actually probably my biggest motivator. I used to hate going to the doctor and getting stabbed with the needle, and I look forward. I actually look forward to it, and that's like, anyhow. So you guys, I'm telling you, find what motivates you and stick with it, because I promise you're going to feel better.
Yeah, for sure. And so finally, we bring us down to our final tip number 7. If you do find yourself with the keto flu, same as Rick was saying, don't quit. It's going to pass. And when you get to the other side, you're going to feel better than you have in years. As miserable as I was, I'm so glad that I pushed through it. And honestly, if I had the option to go back and redo it where I didn't have the keto flu, I'm not sure I would even change that. Because honestly, that experience is one of the things that's kept me a bit more strict on carnivore than Rick or my wife. Just because I was a little like, I just never wanted to go through that again. I wanted to get past it and just have it never happen again. In all honesty, my keto flu hit me harder than when I had COVID. It was just, I was that miserable, and I really came close to quitting. But my ego wouldn't let me because my wife was doing fine. So
yeah.
But in any case, guys, if you found this helpful at all, please like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. We want to try to spread the word on the carnivore diet here, and we definitely need your help to do that. So definitely thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, guys, and in the comments below, tell us what motivates you in the keto diet, and let's share that with the rest of the new carnivores, because you need that motivation to help you stick with it, and it's working for us. So make sure to leave those comments.
Yeah, you know what? But before we sign off, actually, I just thought of something else, Rick. I think I want to throw in one additional bonus tip here. Write down some of your results, especially the stuff that surprises you, because you're going to find things when you start the carnivore diet, ailments that just kind of go away, and it's real easy to forget that they were ever there. So I keep a little journal of all the things that get better, just so that you have a reminder. Because I think that I did that a little bit, but I was not consistent with it, and I know there's things that are ways that I'm doing better today that I don't even remember that was going wrong before. And every once in a while, I'll think of something like I've talked about my plantar fasciitis before. I actually had forgotten that I ever had it until recently. It came back to my mind. So
That's a great point, Doug. The one that strikes me from that comment is one of the ailments I always forget to mention. That's it's not 100%, but it's way better than what it was. Is my neuropathy. I had neuropathy in my middle toe on my left foot, and my neuropathy is just some numbness. And it dawned on me we just had a interview from JT from Poco Moonshine. Yeah, and he asked me what neuropathy was, and when I went back through and watched that video again, I realized I never answered what neuropathy was. I just told him what the doctor told me the cause of it was, which I don't think I agree with. But what it is, neuropathy is it's nerve damage, and so you get a tingling or numbness in your feet or your hands or something. And so that's what neuropathy is, JT, if you're watching. Uh, anyhow,
Yeah.
you all. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, while we're at it, if you are listening to JT, thank you for the interview. We had a great time. If any of you are watching us, you haven't seen Poco Moonshine Family's channel, go check him out. He has some great stuff, and he's really he's doing a lot to help spread the word about the carnivore diet. So we really appreciated him taking the time to speak with
absolutely, us. JT. Yeah, he's a young guy. He's energetic. He's excited about all this the same way we are. That might be another side effect from carnivores. You just get super excited about this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy to be here. So
anyway, guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in and sticking with us here. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you the next time.
Make sure to leave those comments. What motivates you? Have a good night.
Night, guys.